Knowing how to use your mending stitch, your built-in Bartacks, and the belt loop stitch are all key to some good utility stitching using the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3. Now we're going through all the different stitches and all the different menus of this machine, and there is a complete playlist in the link below in the description. And we've actually used part of the bartack as one of our blocks way up here in the Husqvarna Viking Stitching Cosmos online course. We use those to create the tassels and tack them down prior to putting those buttons in place. And yes, you can sew buttons on with this machine and you don't even need a foot. You'll find these stitches in menu A2. Now you notice you have 5 menus of utility stitches, so I hope you'll take some time to check them out. Just a note, if you don't remember which stitch is for which function, touch the question mark, wait till it pulsates, and then touch a stitch. The stitch will then give you a definition. For example, this is one of 2 bar tacks that will help reinforce pockets, shirt openings, belt loops, as well as the lower end of a zipper. So you can choose the question mark, choose a stitch, choose anything on your screen, and it will give you the definition of that stitch and what it's supposed to be used for. So we're going to use these 2 bar tack stitches and these 3 mending stitches, plus stitch number 13 is a really unique, nice belt loop stitch. So I'm going to take the time and stitch out all 3 so you can see how they're to be used and what to expect when you select them. You will notice that as you select a stitch, it will give you which foot you should have on. Today I'm actually going to use an open toe foot more so you can see how the stitch is stitched out in the sequence, so it's a little bit more visual. Stitch 9, you'll notice that it'll go back to foot A, and I think 10 and 11 are foot A as well. So just keep an eye of which foot is identified so you're always using the correct foot when you sit down to sew. Let's start with the mending stitch number 9. You do notice that there is a reverse button that pops up on a screen, and later this repeat option will highlight after we've done one to the length that we desire, allowing you to repeat that same length over and over. But this reverse button is not to necessarily be pushed, but to remind us that we're going to be pushing the reverse button on the head frame of the machine. So you'll be seeing me do that as well. The first mending stitch works like this. It's going to start to stitch. Now, however long your opening is what you're going to see stitched forward. You are going to stop and touch the reverse button on the head frame of the machine. When you touch it, that tells the machine how long you want the mending stitch to be. Now, as I keep my foot on the foot control, you'll notice that the machine will go back and forth that same amount of stitches from the left needle position all the way to the right needle position. Now, once you get there, it will stop for you automatically. You'll have wanted to interface your fabric, put some stabilizer behind it, and match your thread. Now, this is where you'll see on the screen the repeat function is now highlighted. So if I wanted to go ahead and do that same exact length over and over because the rip is bigger and needs just more repeats, it is set to do it automatically as many times as you need. Let's select stitch number 10 to show another way of doing a very quick mending stitch. You're going to notice it's just going to go back and forth from left to right and kind of just fill it in at a nice wide stitch that will help kind of hold fibers in place. So if you're not needing it as filled in, this is a great second choice. And while we're here, I'm going to just explain, because I'll just hop over to stitch 11. It will be a combination of stitch 10 and stitch 9 together, and that will give us a fuller filled in mending stitch as well. So stitch number 10 just nicely comes down, filling in that area. There's no back and forth, so you just go as long as you want it to be. Touch the scissor button when you want it to finish, and check out how nicely filled in and equal those stitches all are. Now for stitch 11, the combination of this first, sew as long as you want. The reverse button is going to show on your screen. So touch the reverse button on the head frame here, and that will go ahead and put in how long you want it, and then go back and forth on top of it for a very well connected, secure mending stitch. Just let it stitch out. And remember, you can use the start stop button if you don't want to hold your foot on this, and that really puts a nice finish on here. Stitch 7 is the predetermined in length bartack. So all you have to do is step on your foot control, and it's going to go ahead and stitch down, back, and then stitch over, kind of like little railroad tracks that get a satin stitch over the top of it. And that's it. Now, the nice thing about this bartack is that is about the standard length of a bartack that you would see on most clothing. Let's say you want to have a longer one. The stitch number 8 is the one where you get to control how long it is, and you are going to need to touch the reverse button 3 times. Each time you touch it, it will then determine the length. So start by sewing forward. When you get to the length you want, touch the reverse button, and I don't even think you have to stop to touch the reverse button, just touch it. So all the way back, that's kind of 2 little parallel stitches. When you get to the top, stop sewing. Touch the reverse button again. Now it will zigzag over the top, and then you get to tell it when you have reached the end. Stop sewing, touch the reverse button, a couple locking stitches, and I noticed the thread cutter was programmed into this, so that was actually nice. So it's just going to go ahead and give you that exact finished size. But you could make that 3 inches, you can make it shorter, longer, any size that you want. On the screen, it does have the option that if I wanted this exact size again, all I have to do is start to sew. Let's do that just so you can see it, that it's the same length as what we just programmed in, and you can do that over and over again. So the next time you really have to secure something, just note that it is a built-in stitch that will make it so much faster. Let's do that last stitch, stitch number 13. This one is called the belt loop stitch, and you're going to notice the difference as soon as I sew. You're going to notice that it's going to go side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times back and forth, and a cut is programmed to the end, and that is all you have to do. But it goes this way instead of this way. So I hope you'll check out all of the videos that we have on the Husqvarna Viking Epic 3. We've got the Stitching Cosmos course where you can watch free videos to see if that course is right for you. You'll find those links in the description below. And don't forget, if these videos are helpful, make sure you're clicking like on each one when you finish, and that is your way of saying thank you for the information. Happy sewing!